Welcome back to the SportsMax Zone. We start with football. Former Trinidad and Tobago and Manchester United striker Dwight Yorke is blaming racism for his inability to break into football management. Yorke, who played over 400 matches in England's top flight and won 3 Premier League titles and the Champions League, says despite recommendation from his former boss Sir Alex Ferguson, the doors remain closed.
You have, over the years, you had fight as not just as a black person trying to make a name in the game. Like I said, I've had 20 years playing at the very top of my profession. And you fought so hard, not just to gain the recognition, but the respect throughout the game from your peers and the fans throughout the world. And I think I've managed to do that as a player. And yet, when I want to sort of venture into the management department, you seem like you to get those obstacles. When you have someone like Sir Alex Ferguson on your side, ready to pick up the phone, to make that call, to endorse you, and you're not even getting a response, it is devastating. It's like a slap in the face. I've spent 10 years, which is half of my playing time at Aston Villa, and not even to get really a response back as to where I can improve, what I need to do, and maybe steps that I can take to get back at least into management. None of those things were provided, and yet I was kind of left in the bewilderness of not really knowing where to turn or what's going to happen from there on in.
So, George, Dwight Yorke, a man whose performances speak for itself, he seemed extremely disgruntled today when I spoke to him about the fact that he has been trying. He said for himself, he even got the recommendation of Sir Alex Ferguson, the great, of course, and still that was not good enough for him to get a job opportunity. It's so sad that, even currently, that this is an issue that prevents black players from making it up in management. We see Raheem Sterling coming out and talking about it. What's your take?
Which is why I'm saying that, much of what is happening now, where the Black Lives Matter protest is concerned, is useful. It is a sea change from how people protested racism and racial injustice in the past. It will achieve some things, and some things have already happened, and some things are set to happen, but it will never change the mentality. And I don't know if I'm defeatist in saying it will never do something, and then some people are saying, well, never say never, but this thing has been going on for centuries. What Dwight Yorke is suffering is what black men before him have suffered, and what black men after him, footballers I'm talking about, will continue to suffer. Sol Campbell, the former Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal centre half and England defender, has also been frustrated. Guys like Paul Ince, who played for Liverpool, played for Manchester United, played for Inter Milan, played for England, also frustrated. If you look at the black managers that have managed in the English Premier League, Chris Hughton, the most prominent of them, other managers who've gotten a chance at the top level, Chris Powell, but they don't get the same chances. There are white football managers, Mariah, who keep getting jobs, no matter how crap they are at the jobs that they are sacked from. They keep getting jobs, and every time there's a vacancy coming up at a certain profile club, you hear the same names. You hear Ian Dowie, you hear Alan Kirbishley.
Yeah.
You heard Alan Kirbishley when he was active. You hear Alan Pardew. It's the same group of white middle-aged men who always get the call, and none of the black footballers who are now, ex-footballers who now have their badges, their coaching badges, now have their qualifications, you never hear them mentioned with any of these jobs. And even when a black man as a football coach gets a breakthrough, it's usually to train the under-9s or the under-8s, and then they come up. Look at Steven Gerrard, a former Liverpool captain, England captain, a Liverpool legend and an England player. His first job in management, Rangers, one of the top 2 teams in Scotland. Yeah, Frank Lampard, his first game in management, Chelsea, a Premier League team, although he was with Derby County, of course, in the Championship, right. but that was a high-profile job as well. Dwight Yorke would never get a Derby County job. Russell Latapy would never get to coach Rangers. None of the outstanding black footballers from this part of the world would ever get anywhere. They wouldn't even get to coach Rangers under-9s, yes. I'm telling you. So it is a systemic problem. That's how racist the world is. That's how people maintain the status quo. And as I say to you, Mariah, I know I'm ranting, as I say to you, look, it is human nature to try to do things to say that you're better than people. So let's not fool ourselves, making it seem as if it's only whites who are oppressing blacks. We oppress our own, and we among ourselves, even if it's the relationship between boss and supervisor, we do things to make the other person know that they are less. And we expect people to speak to us. So you're a manager, or you're a CEO, or you're a managing director. You expect your employees to speak to you and with their eyes on their shoes, yes sir, no sir, and you scold them and chide them and chase them out. It's the same way they expect black ex-players who are now prospective managers to be servile and subservient and, yes master, can you give me a chance to coach the under-9, sir? Yes sir. And that's just the way of the world. It's sad.
And he said, what's even worse, George, is like he's not even considered for the position. So like a simple thing as, give me a phone call, let me know where I went wrong. Those little things. Dwight says, they don't even have the courtesy to extend that to them.
Absolutely so. Look, the United States is the same United States which is under the cosh now. They have the Rooney Rule, which says that a person from a black minority ethnic background must be at least interviewed for the jobs when they come up. And that's progressive. Yeah, we curse the United States for many things, but in that country, that rule exists. In Britain, in the UK, where they talk about, oh, we're not racist. Of course you're racist. Yes, you are. You discriminate based on skin color, and it's okay for a black man to run and to sweat and to bleed for your football team when you need their skill and their muscle and their stamina on the field. But when it comes to football management, which, it's a cerebral thing, only white people are cerebral. So because Dwight Yorke is black, he's not cerebral, and he can't get results out of football players. And it's that backward thinking that we're raging against now.
All right, so let's continue, because Yorke says he's speaking out now to highlight that racism is happening on the field and at the boardroom level.
We are doing, we are raising the awareness, because if I hadn't said that, if I hadn't brought up these topics, we've seen players, even in my position, has been fast-tracked into the game, which is fine. I have no issues with that. I think it's a good thing. I think it's good to see young people being given opportunities into management. All I'm saying is that why is there no black managers or black ex-players being fast-forward like the ones that we have seen, without calling any names? And I'm not just talking just in the Premier League. I'm talking in the Championship as well. So even at that level, we're not even given an opportunity. I can only refer to Sol Campbell, who's a friend of mine. He's been trying to break into management, but he's given less a job. He has to go to Macclesfield, and now he has to be, and now he's a manager at Southend United. So, and he's played at the top of the chain. He's been a remarkable player and won many honors, but somehow the injustice seems to be favoring one side. And we are asking the question, why is that? Why are we not being given equal opportunity, equal chance like all these other players have been given the opportunity?
Yorke also commented on the controversy currently sweeping football in his native Trinidad and Tobago. He says the situation is sad, depressing, and unfortunate.
I'm aware of some of the things that is happening. Our football has been in decline for some time now. You see in the FIFA intervene and put in a committee to try and improve, and yet we are faced with another scandal, another thing that was going to scar us for a long time. We have been in a real dark place where football is concerned. I remember Trinidad and Tobago used to be the top of the chain, certainly in the Caribbean region, competing against the North American and America and Mexico, these opposition, and I don't think we are even close to that. If we can't get our organization right, how are we going to likely to get our football right? And we've been in the decline situation, which is a dark place for our football at the moment, and it's very sad because at one point, we're talking maybe just over 10 years ago, Trinidad and Tobago was on the height of the footballing world in terms of being at the World Cup and certainly making progress, and certainly to see the decline in where we are now, not probably ranked outside the 100 as a footballing nation. It is very depressing. It's very saddening to see where we are, but we need to get our act together. We need the committee people to do the right thing where the football is concerned. There's been too much corruption in football over the years. We have seen it in the past. And here we are, we're still confronted with that. So we still have a long way to go. I fear for the young people who are aspiring to represent our country and take them forward. But the challenge within the organization still remain a doubt. And without that and without the guidance, I'm afraid that the young players, boys and girls, will be struggling in their light of trying to get into professional level or even representing the country if they cannot get the organization side of it right.
And of course, George, I feel like he echoes a lot of my sentiments, especially because, I keep stressing the fact that the only people that will suffer from this are the footballers and, well, obviously the reputation of football in Trinidad and Tobago. And again, George, he also stressed that if you can't fix the organization, you can't fix the football, because these are the people at the top leading the footballers and running the affairs.
Yeah, there's bad administration regardless of race. But sometimes we do some things giving ammunition to those who would wish to oppress because of skin color, to say, well, look at them, look at what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing, so we should go in charge. He's dead on right. If you take a step, just a half step back, and address the issue of race, if you think about it, look at the big clubs in Europe. Which of the big clubs in Europe has a black man led to glory in your living memory? The one that stands out, of course, Frank Rijkaard at Barcelona, Champions League winners, and of course they won the Liga titles under his watch, or on his watch. That's when Lionel Messi emerged in the dying embers of the Ronaldinho reign before Pep Guardiola came and turfed Ronaldinho out and Messi became the star man. You have other examples. Patrick Vieira has found himself in the Man City empire. They own a lot of clubs around the world, and he served an apprenticeship in the MLS. He has worked his way to Ligue 1, and he's now making waves at Nice. If you look in the Premier League, Nuno Espirito Santo at Wolves, the man from Portugal. So there are some, you know what? It's almost like the number of black men, I'm going to combine something. The number of black men in the game, in top positions, at clubs in the top league, not at top clubs. The number of black men with clubs in top leagues, plus the number of black men who've been given the privilege of leading big clubs. Together, they are like a few pimples on the face of a smooth-skinned teenager. So it's not quite, it shouldn't be chicken pox. You should be all over. It's not that. And that is sad. And I've been wondering, why is it that football can't see this? I love watching Ligue 1 in France because you see so many, just by looking on the field, majority of the clubs field black players. And
Yeah.
majority of the squads are perhaps black players with the huge African influence and the North African influence and the other influence of Africans, Central, West, all parts of Africa, the influence of them coming over to France and their parents coming over to France, having children and them now playing for the national team. I'm saying it's an issue that we have ignored for too long. Yeah? Thierry Henry got a crack as well. He was at Monaco, sacked.
Yes.
Well, put in place after Leo Jardim was sacked. Then it went badly under Thierry Henry's watch. Then he was sacked and the manager who he replaced was reappointed. All those things. He's now making his way again. And so I don't understand how black players, I don't see them united enough. I hear Sol Campbell talking here, I hear Latapy talking there, I hear Paul Ince talking there, I hear Russell Latapy talking there. I don't get this collegial feel about them talking together. And when this racism thing reared its ugly head earlier on in the English Premier League season with the Raheem Sterling incident
Yes.
at Chelsea, and I said that unless white players came out with the black players, or the black players said, okay, don't come with us, let's go together. So the top black players in the English Premier League would come out and say, listen, if you don't stop doing what you're doing, we are going to walk off the field regardless of what our teammates and our clubs say. So you don't get this sense of togetherness. And it's almost as if the poorer you are, the more likely you are to come together and speak as one.
Yeah.
The richer and more privileged you are, the more likely you are to speak.
Yeah, because it doesn't affect you.
To speak. No, but even when it affects, that's what I'm saying. So,
like outrightly. This is what I want to
watch
say.
this. I take you. When you are poor, you are more likely to band together and speak with one voice if something is affecting you. When you are rich and otherwise privileged and something is happening to you, you are less likely to band together and speak. So Sterling speaks by himself, another black player in another league speaks by themselves, and that's just how it goes. You don't have this collective speaking. And it's sad that a man like Dwight Yorke, with his experience playing the game, with his qualifications on the line, can't get a job in a decent level, or can't even get an interview, as you said, or even a callback.
Yeah, and you know, when I ended the interview today, I asked him, I said, you know, you're talking about this now. Do you feel like there's going to be any sense of change? He didn't really directly answer me, George, but he said, basically, you know, he's just going to do what's right. He's just empowered by what's taking place, and he had to speak up. He couldn't let it go on for so long, and I'm like, but why now? And again, obviously, it's because he's empowered now to speak up, but he's been enduring this for some time.
Oh yes, oh yes. It's shameful, and it's one of the most disgraceful things about this game that we love. Black players contributing so much. Way from, if you draw a line, to the first black player to play for England.
Giving their all.
Yeah, the first black man to play for England, Viv Anderson, coming right through, a former Manchester United player, right up to the top. Yeah, look at those players, look at all of them, and tell me where they've gotten any jobs that are meaningful. And there are some isolated examples, but apart from the token value of it, I don't see it as evidence that the football is progressing and giving black people their due.
Well, another former Trinidad and Tobago international, Latapy, has also commented on issues affecting the TTFA. Latapy says Terry Fenwick is not the man to lead TNT's senior men's team. He says Fenwick should have been ruled ineligible given his past actions in another coaching job.
I don't personally know Mr. Terry Fenwick, and we've had very little interaction. However, based on the recent reports in the media, and if these reports bear any truth, what I can definitely say is that he's not the person to lead our national team and football moving forward. Recalling that incident which happened with the player and Terry a few years ago, where he elbowed that player when he ran to the bench to celebrate a goal, I think this incident warranted penalties for Terry, which excluded him from national team coaching. Had this incident happened in the UK with one of us, we would have been banned or harsher measures would have been enforced. In relation to Terry, that is all I would say for now, until there is more clarity on what is happening with the TTFA, and then I would give my opinion based on the findings of everything that is happening now with these documents that is apparently falsified and so forth.
Latapy was speaking with Andrew Batiste on I-95 FM. So George, did you see that actual incident when the player had come off the field and Fenwick?
Well, we have it. Let's roll it. Let's roll it.
Because I don't know. Well, I saw it today for the first time. I'll be honest with you, and I wouldn't have even done that on my worst day, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand managers are very passionate and all these different things, but an elbow?
Yep. So this is the incident. So the Brazilian, Jefferson Goulart, scores 1-0 in the game. He runs to the Jablote bench and he gets an elbow from Terry Fenwick. This sparked a brawl. This was in 2005, as the caption said. The team that Goulart played for was, the team that Goulart played for was W Connection, which is David John Williams' club, W Connection. And Fenwick was coaching San Juan Jablote. Yeah, so Maniram John Stadium. He was banned for 10 games for that incident. There was a brawl, as you would expect after that. Fenwick was punched by one of the W Connection players. He hit a couple other players. He was red carded. Several players were red carded. The San Juan Jablote goalkeeper was yellow carded, and it all went down. So this is the incident that Russell Latapy is speaking of.
But the big question for you, does this in any way take away from the fact that Fenwick should have led the Trinidad and Tobago football now in his capacity?
Thing is this, look, he was sanctioned for this act. So a man being sanctioned, he served his time and he's come back. I have no problem with that. Russell Latapy is correct though. Had a black player coaching in England done that, Russell said he would have been banned. I think he would have been jailed for assault for that. So Russell Latapy is absolutely correct, and that person would have been forever persona non grata where it comes to managing a football team in England. So Fenwick did something that in Trinidad and Tobago that a black player could not have gotten away with in England. That's one, I'm certain of that. Then two, I don't want to blend the issues. This issue is an issue by itself.
Yeah,
and there are many
it's
people
happened before.
Right, and there are many people who are using this as evidence that he shouldn't be in the position he's in, which is the question you're asking. What I'm saying is this. In regards to the disclosures that we've made on this show since last week, Terry Fenwick, as far as I'm concerned, Mariah, did not pull a gun and give himself a contract. He did not forge any signatures. He was given a contract by the president of the TTFA, and that is who we should hold to account right now, not necessarily Fenwick on that issue of the contract, because again, he didn't award himself a contract. It's the man who gave him the contract that we have a bone to pick with right now. Fenwick's time will come, but I can tell you, there is a groundswell of support for Russell Latapy's voice note in TNT, that this and some other things have come into the wash in recent time. There have been articles about Fenwick's past. There was another article circulating today about an investigation some time ago in TNT concerning Fenwick and all of those things. Those things will take care of themselves. We're concerned about the man who gave Fenwick a contract, and Fenwick's day of reckoning, if there should be one, it will come. He can't escape it.
Yeah, and what I do know too is a lot of the former players in Trinidad and Tobago, they feel sort of hard done because they feel as if, you bring in somebody from another country, a stranger to lead our national team, when we really do have some former players who can lead by example based on how well they did. Yeah,
and I can tell the viewers that we're crunching some more numbers. We're not done with our revelations yet by any stretch. We are taking a break today from the contracts issue. When we come Monday, we'll be giving you some crucial numbers to put certain things in context for you, and then we'll be talking about a fresh contract, one that you haven't heard about just yet. All right, so you can stay tuned for that.